doing great. Of course, Ellen Meyers Sharp joins us right now. We're talking about a growing trend to grow your own.
Right.
And this has become quite popular. Obviously, in fact, you just threw out a statistic of people growing their own gardens now up to...
66% of us are going to grow a garden, and the average size is going to be about 400 square foot to 800 square feet.
Okay, that seems like a big size garden.
Yeah. 20 by 20.
See, I'm more of like, a couple tomatoes, a couple cucumbers, green peppers. But that's a good size. But that'll get you through, for a good sized family, get you through the entire summer.
For a family of four, that would be good for a family of four.
Yeah.
And when we talk about growing our own and sustainable gardening, we want to make sure that we're using the right plant in the right place. So, say with food, that would mean putting tomatoes in full sun, lettuces more in part shade. That way they'll be healthy and grow. And also we want to...
Okay, so what needs to be in the shade?
Well, like lettuces can take a little bit more shade than...
Because that's kind of hard when you got everything built in like your own garden and then you're trying to protect it, you want to keep some things in the shade, some not as much. So maybe you actually have to think about how you stack them up in rows, maybe?
Exactly.
Okay.
Usually you try to plant east to west because that provides the most sun exposure.
Okay, that makes sense.
You try to put the taller things toward the back or toward the west end of the garden so that it doesn't shade the other plants.
You got to factor all that stuff in.
Well, it's really not that hard.
You get better each year, I would imagine, with your garden.
It's an experiment, and
so we're looking at tomato plants, which is really so common,
It's an Indiana fruit.
It really is, and gosh, they're so good, too.
And then peppers are really, really popular this year, especially the colorful ones. And then the greens and lettuces still remain, they're an early season crop, so it's one of the things that we can start harvesting early. And some of the squashes, like the little acorn squash, are always a lot of fun.
Right, and then you've got some spices here?
Well, some herbs.
Or herbs, I should say.
Yeah, we've got parsley and oregano. And these are just two kinds of basil, a purple basil and a green basil, and the wonderful aromatic rosemary.
And what time are we talking planting now? Because you had mentioned some hanging baskets, but if you've got a stationary, blocked out in wood in your backyard, do you start now? Do you hold off till Mother's Day?
No, we're close enough. I think there is, as you probably know, we're looking at 60 degrees on Saturday as a high, I think.
And a patchy frost maybe on Mother's Day, so probably a good idea to hold off until...
So pay attention to Jim.
For at least for this weekend, and then hopefully beyond it. And then real quick, looking at some of the fungicides.
If you've got an insect or, a lot of times a strong spray of the hose will knock the insect off and you don't have to do anything. Next step up would be an insecticidal soap, which is a plant-based product. If you have a fungicide, we're looking for organic fungicides. And then we talked about feeding the soil and not the plants. And when we use natural fertilizers, that's what that does. And we've got a lot more about this on the website.
Yeah, which we're plugging right now. In fact, as we'll take that, of course, on the website. You can find a link set up on the web at fox59.com that will take you to Joellen's website with the Hoosier Gardener.
That's right.
So, well, we appreciate it.
Thank
always
you so much.
Good to see you. You're always helping me out. We got to get this garden going. We've talked about maybe building something here. Time
do what
constraints.
I can. That would be good.
I know. We'll try to figure that out. I'd really like to try to tackle some tomatoes this year and maybe actually have some grow for me for once. All right, let's talk about the forecast.